Brace for impact, says an opinion piece in the Toronto Star. Canada's biggest city, by the way, is Toronto, by far. And the Toronto Star is, I guess, the Canadian version of the New York Times. I'm sure it's all far left liberals. But the fact they even say this it's an opinion piece, but the fact they let it in is interesting and indicative of the where we're potentially could be going. We're going to go into that, and then an article by VDH, Victor Davis Hanson, one of my favorite authors of all time. Love VDH, and there's some stuff we got to be concerned with. Short term, I'm pessimistic. No other way around that because of the policy set in place by, just where we are, dude. I mean, not, and I guess look, I see the comments. Some people are like, you can't make up your mind. I'm like, yeah, I'm pessimistic, but I don't know. I mean, certainly we could go. It could be another 13 years like the last 13. I have no idea. However, I do know the short term is quite scary. And if you're not prepared accordingly, it could come back and bite you in the butt. And you want to protect yourself against that. Short-term losses hit hard, especially when you're going into retirement. But this isn't even about retirement planning. This is just basically your day-to-day preps. Brace for impact. So let's go into this. And, I just call it like I see it. Hell, have I ever been wrong? Of course. I did not expect inflation the way it is now. Now, again, it's not because of government spending. I'll say that till I'm blue in my face. It's because of government policy. I've always said inflation everywhere and everything is caused by socialistic policies, 100%. It's not caused by too much money taking too few goods. Well, it is, but it's caused by the too few goods of the equation, which is the lack of production because of big government and big policies shutting down the world, closing down pipeline, and the whole thing's freaking insane. And then jab mandates. Supply chain. Ominous headline from Canada. Brace for impact. Our supply chain is about to take a further hit and we'll all feel it. The news couldn't come at a worse time considering that Canada is already feeling the biggest increase in food inflation in 30 years. Yeah, for America it's a bad situation, but for Canada it's much worse. Truckers protest mandate. Food shortage imminent. The truckers north of the border are planning a major protest to draw the attention of Canadian citizens who continue to keep their head buried. What they're trying to avoid is soon to be unavoidable. In Canada, where as much as 90% of the country's fruits and vegetables come from the U.S. during the winter, a vaccine mandate for truckers is slowing down shipments of food. Drivers who aren't fully vaxxed have to quarantine for 2 weeks after entering Canada, i.e. that's never going to happen. Just about half of U.S. truckers are vaccinated. Is that fully vaccinated? Vaccination rates among Canadian truckers are higher, but the mandate says you have to be fully vaxxed to be a cross-border trucker. The mandate adds to the already strained supply chains in Canada, which have been subject to worker shortages, transportation bottlenecks, and recent storms. These factors are pushing up food prices globally. Notice not one thing about government printing. It's all about worker shortages, transportation bottlenecks, and recent storms. And pipelines, energy regulations coming from government regulations. The price to bring food across the border has doubled on some routes due to the scarcity of available truckers. As a result, some shipments are just sitting in the warehouse, rotting away. Because 2-week quarantine, by then your fruits and vegetables will be used for the compost. The U.S. is set to impose similar rules, which could worsen the cross-border food trade. Freedom Convoy 2022 has raised over $600,000 to support a trucker protest, and I'm gonna support that. All right, the decision for Canadian truckers is to meet in Ottawa to protest the vax mandate comes as the industry struggles with issues such as disruptions to the supply chains and the shortage of drivers already. The federal mandate could result in the loss of 12 to 16,000 cross-border CDL licensed drivers. Here we are. FJB, man, FJB. All right, so you think that's bad, which it is, 100%. And they got, we're We're gonna go to this right here. Is America heading for a systems collapse? And this look, Victor Davis Hanson. Let me just, if you're not familiar with VDH, you're missing the boat. You're missing it. Classicist, and historian at the Hoover Institutions in Stanford. The author of the Second World Wars, how the first global conflict was fought and won, and you can read. He's got some books on what's this clown? Please stop the coup porn. Yeah, right on. He had written a book. Let me see because he had written a great book. I haven't read this yet. The Dying Citizen. It's a relatively new one he's published, but it's not about the citizens dying. It's about citizenship is dying. But the one I loved. If we can find it, it's about. Let me just read it. Let's go to his page here, because he had written a great thermopyl. What's it called? Let's go to all formats. About Greek stuff. Let me pause it. End of Sparta. What a great book to read. It's just fun, man. The Western Way of War I haven't read, but this right here, End of Sparta, it's a fun book to read. He's got the Father of Us All. What's that about? It's War in Histoire. That's what we say in France. If you're bilingual like me, you know what Histoire. I can't open this up. Let's just read this. Right. Anyway, so Victor, it's just this guy. Oh my goodness. All right, so this is about. He's one of leading scholars of ancient history. In recent years, become a trenchant voice on current affairs. Blah blah blah. The Father of Us All brings together much of Hanson's Fidus writings on war and society, both ancient and modern. Okay, it's just like a compilation of essays. But anyway, let's just read some of this right here. Is America heading for a systems collapse? In modern times, as in ancient Rome, nations have suffered a systems collapse. The term describes the sudden inability of a once prosperous people to continue with what had ensured the good life as they knew it. Although the population cannot buy or even find once plentiful resources. My wife was just up Publix the other day, man. Yesterday. Shelves are empty. Not all of them, not a lot of them, but some shelves are empty continually. And she says, look, the prices are going up. It's nuts. Well, apple slices used to cost $3.99, $4.49 now. Apple slices, crazy. Let's see. Everyday things stop working. The government turns from reliable to capricious, if not hostile, which it is now. Laws go unenforced or are enforced inequitably, i.e. Mike Flynn goes to jail and Fauci is still running around making millions of dollars. Consider contemporary Venezuela. By 2010, the once well-off oil-exporting country it was the beacon of prosperity in South America and Latin America, and it's just a freaking clown show now. Food became scarce, crime ubiquitous, radical socialism, jailing of opponents, corruption, the destruction of constitutional norms were the culprits. Between 2009 and 2016, a once relatively stable Greece nearly became a third world country. So did Great Britain in the socialist days of the 1970s. Sniffy Joe's presidency may already be leading the U.S. into a similar meltdown. Hard woke ideology has all but obliterated the idea of a border. Millions of impoverished foreigners are entering the U.S. illegally. The health bureaucracies have lost all credibility. Let's see. After decades of improving race relations, America is regressing to a pre-modern tribal society, which goes along. Crime soars, inflation roars, meritocracy is libeled, and we are governed by more ideology and tribe. The soaring prices of the stuff of life, fuel, food, housing, healthcare, transportation are strangling the middle class, 100%. After the Afghanistan debacle, we have returned to the dark days following defeat in Vietnam, when U.S. deterrence abroad was likewise shattered and global terrorism instability were the norms abroad. Yeah, I could not agree more. Law enforcement has been arbitrarily defunded and libeled. Police deterrence is lost, so looters, vandals, thieves, and murderers are more free to prey on the public. The culprit is a callous, woke ideology that posits little value for individuals, prioritizing only so-called collective agenda. The U.S. military, DOJ, FBI, CIA, CDC, National Institutes for Health, until recently were revered. Their top echelons were staffed by career professionals, mostly immune to the politics of that day. Not anymore. Those bureaus and agencies are losing public confidence and support, 100%. Yeah. I want to show you something else here. Hold on a second. We're at the American conservative, Rob Dreher, who considers himself a crunchy granola conservative, talks a lot about, and you should read Rob. I'm a big fan of this guy. He was just interviewed by Chris Martinson, as a matter of fact, from the Peak Prosperity YouTube channel. Anyway, he talks a lot about the tribal nature of what the left is trying to do to push like whites into their own corner, essentially. And he's worried about it. He says, look, at the end of the day, they keep talking white supremacy, with their anti-white stuff. And inherently, they're going to make whites be pushed back to a corner. And that's bad for tribalism. We don't want that. No one wants that. I mean, I get it. If you're a rich, woke liberal who runs or works at a university in a newspaper, you love it because if it bleeds, it leads. But most people just want to live their lives. Most people are not woke. Most people are not want to be in a tribe other than the tribe of Christianity or whatever their religious beliefs are. But this is the stuff that's happening in front of our very eyes. And this is what leads or continue to lead potentially to division and just tribes gathering themselves. What Rod warns, he goes, look, at the end of the day, you have one group of people that's forever the bad guy. And if you keep bashing this group of people, they're going to start to push back and stop doing it because no one wants this crap. And he's 100% right. I completely agree. I'm a crunchy granola conservative myself. You know what I'm saying? Look, man, take some of the hippies, best stuff from the hippies, take some of the best stuff from Reagan, and you got a wonderful ideology with the love of Jesus. Jesus freak, and in my opinion, that's a wonderful ideology, without question. It's peaceful, it's loving, it's also conservative, i.e., we can learn from the past and take the best of what we've learned and throw out the crap that we've engaged in, i.e., racial-based crap, war, draft, all that crap. Throw it out, but you take the best of it and have some compassion. Anyway, so this is a problem. Brace for impact. I don't know the answers. I don't know what's going to happen. I just know that the idea of just everything's going swimmingly, we're swimming, you have to think, like, are you prepared? And I don't even know what that means. I don't know, but be prepared because you got to brace for impact. It's coming. And it's going to take some time. And the Republican Party, actually, Rod was writing about, Kevin McCarthy, who's going to be the new House Speaker of the House once the Republicans take over. He has 4 main things when the Republicans take over. Parents have a right in their schools. Energy independence. Getting rid of, cracking down on human sex trafficking and something else. I'm like, look, all these things are good, but if the basis of your campaign is these 4 things, you gotta it's just so idiotic. The Republicans aren't going to save you. Look, and again, you've got to vote for the Republicans. The Democrats are nuts, but the Republicans aren't going to save you. They'll delay at some point. You just got to save yourself, which is by being prepared. All right, love to hear your thoughts. We'll see you.